Hi everyone, my name is Sean Walker. I'm a Principal Product Success Architect here at ServiceNow. Today I'm going to be talking to you about using Advanced Shipment Notifications, or ASN, to create asset records as part of the receiving process. An Advanced Shipment Notification is a document provided by the vendor which contains information about the hardware assets that are being purchased. HAM best practice is to create all newly purchased assets after they have been purchased but before they arrive on site. This ensures all newly created assets have the required financial and contractual information recorded and gives the asset manager full visibility into all the assets at the very beginning of the asset lifecycle. The Hardware Asset Management Process Guide outlines the steps that should be taken to properly procure assets and create their corresponding asset records. Advanced shipment notifications can be used to assist asset managers with the bulk creation of assets, which addresses processes 3.4 and 3.5. Having the vendor provide key financial and contractual information about the assets during the procurement process helps ensure that all the assets being created have their required data attributes populated at the beginning of their life cycle. Vendors should be asked to either provide a report of the purchased assets or be asked to populate the ASN template prior to the assets being received on site. I'll now jump into an instance and walk you through the process of importing an advanced shipment notification and finish the receiving process. Okay, so I'm logged into a Vancouver instance of ServiceNow with Hardware Asset Management installed, and I'm logged in as the asset manager. So what I'm going to go through right on this video is the advanced shipment notifications and the process of receiving those assets after the advanced shipment notification has been imported. So I'm going to go through as the asset manager and take a look. And if you remember from an earlier video, we had a bulk stock order that was created in the system. So I believe it was request 24. So we can take a look at the requested items. And yes, this is the hardware inventory stock order that we created earlier for a quantity of 5. It's already gone through the approval process. So Eric's already approved creating this bulk order to replenish our stock rooms. So the asset manager is going to go through the catalog task and they're going to go ahead and they're going to source this particular item. Now, since this is a bulk inventory stock order, they're going to trigger a vendor purchase. There's no transferable stock. This could be an option if it was you had a centralized stock room. Maybe you maintained a large quantity of certain assets in a different stock room and wanted to transfer them. But in this case, we're going to trigger the vendor purchase so we can walk through the advanced shipment notification. So we're going to click on the purchase. We're going to purchase from Dell, the quantity 5, into the Canada West stockroom, again, to replenish this stockroom supply. So we're going to go ahead and hit submit, and a purchase order gets created. So now I'm just going to log in as the procurement user, and we're going to go ahead and process this purchase order. So again, I'm going to impersonate the procurement user. Going to go into procurement, and we're going to take a look at that purchase order. So purchase order 12. This is the hardware inventory stock order, and we're going to go ahead and order it. So in some other videos, we walked through how you can receive assets when they arrive if you're using either the UI or if you're using the mobile app. So just wanted to show you, if I want to receive now this PO on the mobile app, I'm going to have to come in and actually go ahead and capture each one of the asset tags. Or as they come in, I'm going to have to, on the mobile, scan each and every one. I'm not going to finish this, and we're going to take you through the receiving process. Or sorry, the advanced shipment notification process, and then we'll show you what the receiving process on the PO looks like after I've imported my advanced shipment notification. So In order to do that, what I can do is either request that the vendor send me a report of all of these 5 assets after they've shipped, so I have all the information and I can populate a template and bring it in myself, or I can send the vendor the template and have them populate it. So the first step for an advanced ship notice is if we come under procurement, actually I'm going to have to log in with a user who can actually do that. Now, sorry. To do advanced shipment notification imports requires an admin role because you are writing directly to a table. So very much like a transform map or importing any data, you need to have the admin role within ServiceNow to be able to import data directly into the table. So I'm logged in right now as a sysadmin, and you can see now under procurement I have an import shipment notifications. And here's where you can get a copy of the template. So I can download this template file, send it off to the vendor, have them fill it in, or take the report they give me and fill it in myself. So what I'm going to do is just quickly pause the video while I populate the template myself with the information, and then we'll go ahead and show you that populated template and how to go ahead and import it. Okay, so I've downloaded the template and I've populated a bunch of asset data. So we're going to take a look at that template now. So in Excel, it opens up and it gives us a bunch of different fields that we can populate. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I have the PO number. So again, this is the PO number that we generated in the system when we click the order button or we click on the vendor request button. So when we make sure we put the PO number on this template, it will automatically associate these 5 assets being created with that purchase order number. I want to make sure that when I'm doing things like putting in the vendor and manufacturer, these are reference fields. So they're going to be looking up the exact names for the vendor and manufacturer within the existing ServiceNow data. So it's really important that when you're populating your vendor, your manufacturer, or any other reference field, that data already exists within ServiceNow. Otherwise, it's either going to give an error or just not populate that field. So again, I want to make sure that Dell Inc. is the one for the manufacturer that is set up within ServiceNow already. I need to make sure I put in the model ID. So again, this is really important when creating assets that you have the right model ID. In this case, it is the model number that this particular template is referencing. So you want to make sure that the model already exists within the system. It will not create models for you. So if this is the first time you're ever creating an asset for this model, you need to make sure that the model is created ahead of time. And this field is going to be looking up the model number of the assets that you're receiving or wanting to create. You also want to make sure that the serial number is unique, right? This serial number doesn't exist already in the system or it will throw an error. So these are all new assets that are being purchased. So there should be no duplicate serial numbers in the system. And same thing with asset tags. Asset tags you want to make sure are unique as well within the system. Since these are all individual assets and serialized assets, the quantity is 1. Because each individual serialized asset is created individually. If you're doing consumables and you're importing consumable models, you could have a quantity greater than 1. But since it's a serialized asset, you want to make sure the quantity is 1. You can put in the ship date so you can track that information. Again, watch your syntax. Put in your carrier information if you have it. And your tracking ID, that'll be recorded as well. And then this is where it's really important to have, again, these are going to be doing a lookup. So it's going to be referencing the ship to address. So remember, we're shipping these to the Canada West stockroom. So this is the address that's in the system for the the Canada West stockroom. Again, this is a lookup value. It must be present. If you don't have a value in here and the PO knows it's supposed to ship to that specific address and it's not the right address, it will throw an error. And again, the remaining ship to information, your order date, and then also your service contract end date, otherwise known as your warranty date. So this is really important to understand that you get these warranty information for these assets being created, populated at the same time. Okay, so now we have our template populated. Now, important note is you cannot add columns to this. You are stuck with the columns you have. Do not change the column header names. Do not add columns. Make sure if you're copying and pasting from a vendor report that you're copying and you're pasting special and only pasting values so that you're not bringing over any hidden underlying text that might be there. So you want to make sure you copy and paste special into this. So now that this is populated, I can come back into my instance and I can browse for my files and I can pick that template that I just populated and I can click on the upload button. Don't mind the name, I just reused a file, so I didn't rename the file itself. And now I can click here to see the progress. Oh, and it's already done. So I can see here that it's processed. It processed it into the staging table. And I can see, just like on any other transform map, I can see that it processed a total of 5 records and it did 5 inserts. And it used this particular transform map to do it. So you can see here that all of these assets were created in the system based off of the template. So now I can come back in and impersonate my ham user now that the administrator has done the import for me. I'm just going to go back in as the ham administrator and we can quickly take a look at those assets. Let's close down some of these old tabs. We can come into our hardware asset estate, come into our hardware assets, and we should see here are all these 5 Dells that were created for us as part of the ASN. And you see that they're currently in transit because remember, the PO has not been received yet, right? So the vendor has sent you the information ahead of time. Those 5 laptops are still in transit from the manufacturer to our receiving dock. So they are still showing in transit. So they're created with the asset tags and serial numbers, but they're still in a state of in transit. So we're going to come actually as the, I think we can, we can actually receive the PO, sorry, as the ham administrator. So we can come back into the purchase orders and we can come back into purchase order 12. And we can see now that 5 assets are linked to this PO. And that's because on the template, we had the PO number specified. So again, it needed to be exactly the same as it's generated here. And it actually did a lookup on the purchase order and made sure to associate those 5 assets that were being created as part of the advanced shipment notification to associate it with this PO. Okay, again, you can see state is in transit. The cost has not been transferred over yet because the assets have not yet been received. So we're going to click on the receive. And if you remember when we tried to receive this PO before, we had to populate all of the asset information manually, but after we've done the advanced shipment notification and we click on receive, now we automatically have these assets associated with it, and we can go ahead and click done. Yes, they are received, and we can hit submit. So now we've received the assets after we've imported the advanced shipment notification, and you can see now that now that the PO has been received, the cost has been transferred from the PO to the asset record itself with a state of in stock available. So I can take a look. We're just going to come back in here into the asset workspace and take a look now at some of these assets that were created and just show you the information that came across. So we've got obviously the model category, which created the model was known, right? We knew that we had the model in our template. We had the asset tag and the serial number in our template. Now the PO has been received, they're in a state of in-stock available, because remember, this was a bulk inventory stock order, so we were replenishing the stock in our stock room, in the Canada West stock room with that location. The other information that's come across is the PO number has come across onto the asset record. The cost has come across based off of the purchase order. So that information has automatically come across as part of the advanced shipment notification and the PO process within ServiceNow. So that's how you use the advanced shipment notification and the receiving process after you've used an advanced shipment notification. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for your time.